Hi guys. This is Henry from the Patriot 254. I don't know much. I'm just keeping it real. Anyway, so recently there was a burial somewhere in Kenya. Which is not a point. A freedom fighter was being laid to rest, and the deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, honest man, decided to speak about the plans that the government had. And speaking against what Raila had said, and he mentioned something about Dedan Kimathi and his burial site. I know you guys don't know, but Dedan Kimathi was a leader of the Mau Mau for the longest time, and this gentleman was sold out by a Kenyan who was a former police officer in the colonial government. Sold out and killed. Humiliated, killed. We don't know that it was tortured for days. We do not know the details. The British Empire on leaving Kenya didn't give us the details, but they do have the details. So the president or the deputy president proceeded to say that they had plans that the slain's burial site was to be organized, to be directed them, because the guy who had died, the one who they were mourning per se, knew where the late Dedan Kimathi had been buried. So I'm just a normal Kenyan, and I'm wondering, what is our problem? What is our biggest problem? Because this is an old problem that has been affecting this country for the longest time. A simple thing, a small matter, but it has taken us decades to solve. I don't want to say we're not serious, or the government is not serious, or does not know what it's doing, but it knows what it's doing. This government, and any other that has been there before that, has been for the people, by the people. If for real it has been by the people and for the people, then why didn't they take time to look for the burial site of Dedan Kimathi and all other Mau Mau warriors who were unceremoniously buried in unmarked graves? Why didn't we go out there and get back our piece of flesh, a pound of flesh as it were, from the British Empire? The British Empire is still there. Why are they still working as our overlords? Why are we obeying them and listening to every whim they have? Why did we decide to honor all the agreements that the British Empire had made on our behalf when they had colonized and were milking us dry? This same British Empire is the same one that came to our country, took our kindness for weakness, and colonized us, tortured us, took our land, took our resources, pulled us out of our homes, our traditions, stood and killed everything that we stood for, made us nothing, then now built us up in their own image. That's why today we have a problem with identity. And after they had done all this for, give it about 100 years, some few individuals, wherever they came from, is of no consequence, or is not so important as far as they are concerned, because they were fighting for the whole nation. They had an enemy, they held hands, they fought out the enemy, they forced the enemy out, using the same skills the enemy had taught them to fight their own war. Kenyans were in the Second World War. Kenyans were in the First and Second World War. This reminds me of some years ago I went for a burial for a former, I don't know how to say it. It's not a Kenyan army, because that was not the Kenyan army, that was the British Empire's army. So he's a Kenyan, but he was a British Empire's army. He was more than 100 years old. He had lived through everything. He had fought in the Second World War as a young man. He came back here and was taken back to Burma, did what? I don't know where, traveled, fought for the kingdom, came back, reformed, joined the church, and he had lived in the church, made his family, and died. Common poor man. not poor in soul or character, but poor in resources. The vestiges of the British Empire or the European occupation in Kenya are still alive and well. If Rigathi Gachagua is very, very serious about it, then he should attack the problem from the roots. These Mau Mau warriors who fought for independence, since now you've opened up the Pandora's box of Dedan Kimathi and how you had planned to get this gentleman who knew where he had been buried to go and show you, the government, where he had been buried. There was no other opportunity in the last 60 years. There was no other opportunity for you guys to know where exactly this man was buried. There was no other opportunity, and this man has been alive all through this time. There's a small fact that is unknown to many. The Mau Mau were had been recorded as a terrorist group, an illegal terrorist group in Kenya since the colonial man named them as such, up to the days of Mwai Kibaki. Just imagine that. Just imagine that. A whole 30-something years, 36, 38 years, I think, 37, 39 years, almost 40 years after they were killed. Almost actually 45 years after they were killed. Most of them. That is when they became legalized. That's when we were given the right as Kenyans to celebrate our heroes. The heroes who fought and sweat for this country, who bled for this country. We took 45 years to recognize them. Before that, you could not mention them. They could not be put on a piece of paper anywhere. There could never be any kind of reparations for them because they were an illegal sect. Same way we have Al-Shabaab as an illegal sect. Same way we have Mungian as an illegal sect. Vijana wa Mwenje, Ryuda, these gangs that had popped up in the 90s, all those gangs, we have them as an illegal sect. We had the Mau Mau as an illegal sect too. Yet these were our founding fathers, essentially. Jomo Kenyatta was up abroad. When he came back, he made a deal. After the deal, he inherited a government, a regime. We never defined or designed our own regime as it's supposed to. We never decided these are our values, these are what we stand for. We never decided that this is who we are as a people. We never did. And it will keep biting us from today, from that day, all through into the future. I really don't like talking about politics, especially online. I would rather I speak about historical happenings because they are facts and you cannot fight with facts. I could have an opinion that is political and I could be wrong because I'm just human, but history is so factual and you can never fight facts. So I don't want to talk about Raila fighting or arguing with Rigathi, throwing shade or taking very, very disrespectfully to his elder, Raila Odinga, in a burial of such a great man. But what they were speaking about is of so much consequence than they realize. He should have taken the opportunity to address us and tell us, we have had a crime committed in this country. We've had a timely problem in this country. We've had, something close to our hearts that has not been done for the longest time. So now, because we've had this for the longest time, let us hold hands and solve it. First, we make reparations. Let's see who this leader of the Mau Mau, where he was. Let's lay him let's lay him to rest in respect. Let us go back, get some history about it. Let us exalt him. Let us take the ideals he stood for and lift them up. He stood for equality. Let's stand firm for that. Let us put up a whole monument in the middle of town and put the values he had there. Let us take the family of him that is remaining and then thank them the only way a government can, the only way a nation can. 45 million people officially, going on to 50 million people. We cannot have the sense to thank the guys who sacrificed this, sacrificed their lives, sacrificed everything they had, their resources, their sweats, their tears, everything. They gave it to this land so that we may call it our own. Now we are here saying, ningejua before kufe, ningemwambia tuoneshe barele yule jamaa. That's stupid. Before akufe tu hivi, ningemwambia tuoneshe malio jamaa alizikwa. Ndio tukuje tumwambia sasa tumepata Dedan Kimathi, tumzike vizuri. Yet the widow of Dedan Kimathi died as a poor widow. Fine. Let's say it is impossible. It is impossible to know where Dedan Kimathi was buried. Let's not use it as a political, sledgehammer. Let us not use it as, a walking stick. Every time you have something that you need to speak about in a political rally, you want to speak about that so that it can gain you some momentum in your public speech. Let us not use that as that we are spitting in the grave of that man and the memories and the honor that he had, the legacy in his blood, in his veins, dried with him. So let's give him some respect. For nothing than for those of us who are looking up to him. Because he fought for us. It is the most patriotic act that anyone has ever done, to die for his country. And he did. He led a mighty struggle. He died and the struggle went on. Fine. Let us forget him. By Mungi, his family is still there. Poor as church mice, sorry. By Mungi's widow is still alive, I think, and the children. The regime that came after independence, the Jomo Kenyatta regime, went ahead to destroy the Mau Mau. Never gave them any peace of mind. They never gave them what they had fought for. They never gave them land. The wording of land was changed. The children of the Mau Mau went and formed land societies to buy back land in areas like, to buy land from the government. To buy from the government, yet the government had taken a loan to buy land and give them. But anyway, they went, settled in areas like Nakuru, Njoro, and the likes like that. And these same children are the offshoots of those Mau Mau warriors, and their children are what made the Mungiki. The children of the warriors who fought for this land. The blood of the warriors that fought for this land. The spirit of the warriors that fought for this land is still uneasy. It is still crying, bleeding, tears, pain, crying for this land. Seeing the kind of culture that we've adopted of robbing millions and billions, making billionaires out of politicians who know nothing about management and creation of wealth or manufacturing and creation of industries. In view of all that, it will not hurt if you take 1 billion and legitimately gift all the Mau Mau warriors who are still alive. Go to Nyeri, walk around, talk to the old men. All of them right now are above 95. For heaven's sake, the least you could do is give them some honor. Don't speak about such honorable men in public uselessly. These are men who are above you in every way, in stature, in wealth, in character, in every way. The respect that is accorded to, leaders in this society should be accorded to the warriors who died peacefully or painfully. Let us not forget where we came from. There's a wise man who once said, if you want to impoverish the people, take away their resources, take away their self-esteem, and take away their role models. So the British came to us, they took away our resources, they took away our self-esteem and made us slaves in our own land. Then they took away our role models and implanted people to leaders who were friendly to them. Children of the senior chiefs who collaborated. Home guards. Today, our self-esteem is still being taken away. Our resources are still being taken away because theft, all right, everywhere. Now I'd like to ask you, who do you think our role models are? Any person who stands up to speak about the government is kicked out or kicked off. The oxygen is strangled from them, and it has become part of the system so much that we don't even see it happening. You fall in line, you go against the grain, you disappear. The Mau Mau are our forefathers. We should always respect them. If for nothing, because they are elders, they are our elders. You should never speak ill or speak about them with such reckless.